Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Rough, Tam McManus and Charlie Adam here with me on this Wednesday with lots of football to talk about. Don't forget to hit the follow button, join our football family on Facebook and share the stream if you can. And if you get a chance, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. You can hit the bell and you'll get notifications of when we are on and all the unique video content that we have on our platform. And thank you for the countless messages of kindness towards Kevin Twaddle. He was our one-to-one guest this week. I had a chat with Kevin. I chatted with him many years ago about his gambling addiction and the book that he brought out. But I certainly was caught by surprise by the last 12 months and the difficulties he's faced in that time as well. And it was a very honest, open discussion with Kevin. He's a great lad. And I think if you want to sit down and watch it on YouTube or indeed listen to it on the podcast, I'm sure you will enjoy his honesty and, of course, his journey day by day. Not a footballer anymore, a painter and decorator, and, of course, a man who inspires many people around him. So it really is a good listen. Apart from that, I just want to ask the guys, did anybody decide to watch Paris Saint-Germain from the start against Barcelona in the Nou Camp? Tam, I salute you right now, because I just could not, I couldn't move away from Liverpool. I had to see, the team that I like in England. And I wasn't disappointed with their second half, but boy, I wish I'd watched the whole of the Barcelona game.
Oh, PSG were outstanding, Peter. Mbappe, I think he's 22 years old. I think he's the best player in the world now. I think you've got Messi and Ronaldo who are coming towards the end, and think Mbappe's going to be the new superstar. His third goal in particular, you've probably seen it. It's a great counter-attack, and then doesn't even take a touch. Laid into his path and just curls in the top corner for his hat-trick. What a player. But I think he needs to leave PSG, Peter. I'd like to see him in England or Spain. A right top team. I think he's got it easy in France. I think PSG dominate it over there, so I'd like to see him at Man City or a Man United or a Barca or a Real Madrid.
Yeah. I think all odds on that would be Charlie, Real Madrid more than anything. Although he has been heavily linked with Liverpool, but fantastic player.
Yeah, listen, I said before, I think, if you're going to replace one of the front three, Salah, Firmino or Mane, I think Mbappe's probably the only one really that they can do it with. I think if it's, he's a superstar, he's, let's say, 22 years of age, going to be the next Ballon d'Or winner, the best player in the world. He's got everything. And like Tam said, I think he has to move away from Paris to then, propel into that level. Because, he's obviously good winning everything at PSG. But 22 years of age to go to Barcelona and do what he done last night is just phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. I was waiting. I actually thought for a minute, Tam, you were going to say if Hibs get the right money for Nisbet, then obviously the door's open for Mbappe just to go in there.
Do a straight swap.
Yeah. How would the Hibs fans react to a guy who could control the ball with 2 feet and finish from anywhere in the park?
I don't think they'd be happy.
Still more.
They'd be looking for a fee and toffee.
I mean, to be honest with you, Roughie, the third goal was outrageous, wasn't it? I mean, he didn't even. It seemed as if he didn't even think about it. Just
magnificent,
thorough place, brilliant.
Oh no, he knew what he was doing before it got to him. I was more impressed with the one before it, where the touch that took him by Piqué. I thought the touch was unbelievable. Just death. And he could do nothing about it, and then he just slots it in the back. No, I think it'd be an eye-opener for Barcelona. Obviously they know all about him, but obviously seeing him up front, we're all worrying about, well, not worrying, we're all discussing what Messi's going to do. Is he going to stay or is he going to go? I think he'd be a great addition, since obviously Barcelona have lost Neymar and they lost Suarez, and they've lost their big stars. They've lost big superstars that they used to have, and I would think they'd be certainly looking at him, just to sort of regenerate what's happening at Barcelona.
Yeah,
I think I think the worry for these two Spanish clubs is can they afford them? Barca are in over $1 billion worth of debt. Real Madrid are redeveloping the stadium, aren't they? So that's costing them millions. So where does he go? Does he go to? I think Man City should just go and throw the book at him. If Aguero goes in the summer and say you're going to be the number 9 and front three of Sterling, Mbappe, and somebody else.
Yeah. I actually disagree with you there, Charlie. I think Liverpool should throw the book at him and get him over there. None of your Man City stuff. Get him into Liverpool. Anyway, apart from anything else, I must apologise. Some people do actually send us messages about their birthdays or special occasions. And if I can't catch it on the feed, and there are thousands of them going past, then, and that's on YouTube and Facebook, we get on Twitter. So Eddie Snedden, it's his birthday today, and he says, "Afternoon, gents. Can I get a happy birthday today for myself?" And I think that's good enough, Roughie. I always like somebody who wants to wish themselves a happy birthday. So Eddie Snedden, happy birthday to you, Eddie. And thank you for joining us in the show, and thanks for listening as well. No mention of what... well... Trust you to blow his confidence on his birthday. I'm sure Eddie's got mates, but they just haven't contacted him yet. Anyway, apart from anything else, Eddie, happy birthday to you. I don't know what age you are. One other thing, we move on now, Roughie. Robert, who sends me an email every now and then. I think he's in Germany, if my memory serves me correct, and he's not happy with you with your comment last night, which was just wild speculation. Are you part of that fake news team, Roughie? You said Rangers were holding back on naming the 5 because you thought there was big name players in there. Well, there weren't any big name players, and no disrespect to Calvin Bassey, but it was 5 players who broke the rules. They will be punished, and as you can see by the 5 in the box there, Roughie, Patterson, Zungu, Bassey, Kinnear and Mabudi are the players who breached the rules for the elite sport players, and Rangers will deal with them internally, and then if there's any other punishment, we have to wait and find out, Roughie.
Well, I would think it'd be the same punishment as the other 2 Rangers players. I don't know what the maximum fine is internally, if it's 2 weeks' wages or whatever. And then the SFA come out. I think the other 2 got 7 games ban. They can't get any less than that if they're found guilty of whatever they've done. And then you move on. Unfortunately for the younger player, the boy Patterson, who they think very highly of, and that could maybe hold him back just a wee bit. He'd have to convince the manager that it was a one-off and he's a young boy. But the rest of them, well, they're not like Edmondson and Jones. They're not like ones that you want out the door. No, you want that some of them have got long-term futures there. So it'll have to be handled very carefully. The reason I said possibly last night that they would be holding back, because anybody it was would have to quarantine. With the Europa game coming up tomorrow night, if it happened to be 4 big high-profile players, they would miss that game. So that's not the case. So you just move on now.
Yeah, and with that in mind, these players now have to self-isolate as well, Charlie. And of course, the SFA and the government will look at this situation closely.
Yeah, listen, I've seen what Steven said, come out, obviously, what he'd done with Rangers TV, and he's not happy. He's been let down. But for these 5 players to do what they've done is just absolutely idiotic. They already know that 2 of their teammates have been binned at the football club and put on loan, and they think that they can go and take the law into their own hands again. And if they don't learn from what the previous has done, then they should be having strong words. And the thing for me, the frustrating thing would be for me, is somebody like a Nathan Patterson, who Rangers have invested in, gave him a few games, and now to be dragged into this situation, like Roughie said, puts his career back a little bit, especially for trust from the manager off the pitch. And, Bassey's obviously just got a long-term contract signed this summer. Zungu's deal won't probably happen now on a permanent, but bringing the lads in from Bournemouth anyway. So I just think the manager will feel let down, and they have to take the consequence of what's come from the SFA and the government now.
Yeah, I think lots of people, Tam, will be expecting similar punishments to what has gone before, which we wait to find out. But as far as careers are concerned, I mean, George Edmondson and Jordan Jones have quickly been shipped out on loan. So that's the message you got from Rangers the last time there was any breach in the rules. And even all you have to do is look back at Basil Bolingoli. I mean, he's got no chance of resurrecting his Celtic career, I don't think.
No, Peter, I think it might be worse, to be honest. I think that when the original breach happened, Edmondson and Jones, that I think Steven Gerrard would have got the full squad together in a meeting and laid down the law and said, listen, if this happens again, then somebody's about the door. It could be a termination for some of them, Peter. I don't think there's any excuse. And we spoke about it the last time, and we were a wee bit lenient because we thought, it's been locked down, young guys, they want to go out and meet people and have a drink or whatever. We gave them a wee bit of slack. I don't think there's any slack you can give these five. I think after, as you said, it's happened before, I think Gerrard would have been raging. And I think now he's probably looking at it and going, can we maybe get rid of some of them? Because, and I know what Charlie's saying about Patterson, he just signed a new deal, but those 5 players, I think the Rangers' careers are in serious jeopardy in terms of either getting shipped out on loan, contracts terminated, or out the door. Because I think Gerrard will be absolutely furious that this is the second time it's happened under his watch.
And if there is one modicum of optimism around this story, it's the fact that the first team players, that there were wild suggestions that maybe there were first team players. I mean, I heard more than a few. I understand where you were coming from, Roughie, but I heard more than a few rumours of other players. But you have to deal with at times, I think, because of the nature of social media, a lot of wild stories that come about. You just have to either check sources, phone someone, check again, before you start delving into the mad rumours that go about. But there's no first team players that are involved in the match against Royal Antwerp. And of course, Steven Gerrard was reacting also to suggestions that James Tavernier was apparently going to be injured and not involved in this game. He said that was fake news. Suddenly we've got, again, managers having to deal with all sorts of stories going and doing the rounds. It's Royal Antwerp against Rangers. Tavernier will be there. And our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi looks ahead to the match.
Rangers return to Europa League action on Thursday night, travelling to Belgium to face Antwerp in one of the few ties that have not been displaced due to coronavirus protocols. Royal Antwerp were formed in 1880, making them the oldest club in the country. They're managed by former Belgian winger Frank-Iver Kottenrun, who took over at the start of 2021, after the draw was made, following a poor run of form under previous boss Ivan Leko. The club have lifted 4 league titles in their history, although none in over 60 years. Their most recent success was last year's Cup, which is one of their 3. They were also the last Belgian team in a UEFA final, losing the 1993 Cup Winners' Cup to Parma. Players to look out for are Iran goalkeeper Alireza Beiravant, who saved a Cristiano Ronaldo penalty at the World Cup, and left-sided man Jordan Lukaku, brother of Romelu, whilst Yurmechi Mbakani, their top scorer and former Norwich hitman, is injured. The two sides have never met before, but the Belgians have faced Scottish opposition previously in the shape of Kilmarnock and Dundee United. Antwerp had a strong campaign last season, finishing 4th and lifting the cup. They finished 2nd in their group behind Tottenham at the end of last year, beating them at home as well. Now this season could be even better. They currently sit 2nd, though they come into the game in sticky form, having not won in 2. Rangers are favourites on the night and overwhelmingly tipped to progress, but Steven Gerrard will be taking no chances as he aims to improve on 2020's last 16 finish.
Yeah, that's how it looks. They've got, I think, 5 players out, injured key players, Charlie, and possibly another 2 who are doubts. So this is a real chance for Rangers, as they have done in the past, to go over there and get a nice positive result.
Yeah, listen, Peter, this is a massive game for them, because this will now, like people said before, this might just spark a little ignition to Rangers with they've not been great in the league recently. And, obviously the league's won, and, they might have took the foot off the gas a little. I don't think they have, but they might just be thinking, if they can get this game, it's a meaningful game, get into the next round, and never know where the draw can take you. So I think they've got a great opportunity here. I don't think that Antwerp will be, too much of a problem. They obviously beat Standard Liège home and away, which was a good marker for them. But they're 6th in the league, so I don't really have to look into that. But I think Rangers could win this comfortable over 2 legs and get into the next round.
Yeah, Gordon McFadden fancies Rangers to win it. I've got a sneaky suspicion about this one, Tam. I think they might edge it by a 0-0. There you are.
Yeah, I fancy Rangers strongly, Peter. I agree with Charlie. I think that the league campaign they have, listen, the league's won. I think they've maybe just subconsciously just took the foot off the gas a little bit, but I think this will give them a little bit of a boost, something different. Back into Europa League, Rangers have had a phenomenal record under Steven Gerrard, and I think if Rangers go over there and play the way they can, keep the ball, and hit Antwerp on the counter-attack, And I think there's a couple of goals in here for Rangers, definitely. So I would go for 2-1 to Rangers on the night.
Yeah, Roughie?
I'm a wee bit like Charlie. I mean, I know Charlie's not worried about it. I do think that the Rangers have not shown any of the form that they showed a couple of months ago. That there might be a lot of reasons for that. I think this is going to be tougher. I mean, I know the guys think it's going to be quite easy. I think they're going to have a tough one. I think it's going to be up to Alan McGregor to do the usual saves to taking something back to Ibrox. I don't think Rangers will win this one. I think they'll get beaten this one, but if they can get a goal, it gives them something to sort of a build on for Ibrox. So I think, like you, I think it's going to be really tight. I think this is going to be one of the tightest ones that they've had, because although we don't know how many of their players are going to be out, that'll have a big bearing on it. But I still think this is a tough one. No, I'm sticking by it.
So he's going to win 1-0.
No, it's a tough one. I'm going to go Antwerp to win 2-1.
Well, that's all we've got time for today after that long-winded answer there from Roughie.
That was lengthy.
It was honestly, I could have put another package in there, Tam. That was Gabriel could have done another package on Royal Antwerp. Anyway, apart from anything else, yeah, Gordon McFadden says, Roughie, any chance of getting to the point? Of course, we've got there in the end. He thinks it's going to be tight. Not just tight, but tight, which is a bit of the old Mickey Flanagan there for Roughie. It's not just out, it's out, and tight. Anyway, I don't think anybody thinks it's going to be easy, but you can give us your thoughts on it as well. As far as domestically, there are football matches to look forward to as well. And of course, we're talking about Celtic, Aberdeen and St Mirren against Hamilton. Just interestingly enough, a story surrounding the Celtic situation here. And I'm looking at the Green Brigade, and they've launched this Celtic Shared campaign to unite the fans. It's supported by fan media and supporters clubs, and the aim is to agitate for change. And the long-term goal, apparently, on this is for fan engagement and calls for eventual fan ownership. What's your take on that, Tam?
Listen, we spoke about fan ownership before. Fan ownership, I think, works at smaller clubs. I think at Celtic, you need somebody with big money at Celtic. Dermot Desmond, somebody like that. You need somebody with serious money behind you if you're going to go and compete at the highest level in Europe. So, whilst I appreciate and I commend the Celtic supporters for coming together and trying to do something, I don't think that fan ownership any time in the future is a possibility for Celtic. I think they need big money and a big owner that can pump the money in and take them where they want to go. It's particularly in the next few years when there might be a European Super League that Celtic will want to be part of. But fair play to the Celtic fans for coming together. But I don't see it long term, Peter, a fan ownership with the club.
Yeah, I'm sure there are many Celtic fans, Roughie, who will cite the Barcelona blueprint and other clubs undoubtedly in Europe who do have a strong set of fans who contribute to the club. I mean, on a smaller scale here, we've got situations where Motherwell, Heart of Midlothian, but Heart of Midlothian still have guiding the ship at the moment and Budge, and they have more than a few, I think, millionaires in the background who've been helping them along the way. But I just get the feeling, Roughie, that in the future, you need to have, I agree with Tam 100%, you need to have people with money. And because Celtic is such a big business, I think their ultimate aim, and this wall will fall down in my opinion, the ultimate aim is to break down the barriers and take the business to some kind of European structure, because there are too many leagues now where only a few clubs dominate. And I think they're getting more and more frustrated by it. It's different in England because it's such a wonderfully competitive league. But in the other leagues across Europe, there's a lot of dominance by 1, 2, possibly 3 clubs at a push.
Well, it's finance, Peter. That level. That's what takes you up with the big boys. I mean, there's this morning we were talking about. Brian Rice was talking about he can't compete with St Mirren's budget. That's what it's all about. It's all about budgets. It's all about money. It's what the board can raise to give to the manager to buy the quality player, to bring them in and get them where they want to be. And I agree, that you need, at Celtic's level and Rangers level, you need the big boys. The big boys have got the money. When things aren't going well, they can pump it in and get you at the troubled times. And that's the way it is. But it might be a breath of fresh air to the Green Beret on the board, to see what happens.
Charlie?
I don't think that'll ever happen, especially not a club at Celtic. I think if Dermot Desmond wants to sell the football club, I think it could have there'll be a queue lining up to try and buy it because of the history and how big a football club it is, not just on the pitch but off the pitch. Celtic supporters worldwide, so I don't think the Celtic supporters will be allowed to buy the club and be fan owned. So we'll see what happens. But the Green Brigade just making a noise again, and we'll see where that ends up.
Yeah, sometimes, Charlie, and this is what he does, he waits till I try and read some of the notes from people there's thousands of messages go up. So what he does is he waits till I'm reading these to try and be, sneaky and throw in the most ridiculous statement ever, which is the Green Brigade on the board. Anyway, apart from anything else, quite a lot of people. Frank Donaldson says, Roughie has lost the plot. To be honest with you, I always like to strike a balance here. A lot of people on there saying the Green Brigade don't speak for the majority of Celtic fans. And I think that's a point that has to be stressed as well. It's not necessarily when they put up these banners, some of them in poor taste, and then people just go above and beyond with abuse towards, for example, Neil Lennon going out of the club. They don't necessarily represent what I think is the majority of decent Celtic fans who Tam, have looked at the situation with Neil Lennon and said, look, the results haven't been good enough. That's it. There should be a change of manager. Not, banners going up everywhere, calling everybody liars, charlatans, the whole thing. There's an element of just being a football fan and saying, look, are the results good enough? No. Should we get a change of direction? Yes. Perfectly entitled to do that. Every fan is.
Yeah, definitely, Peter. I think that the majority of Celtic fans appreciate that, Neil Lennon has been a great servant as a player and a manager. But the results are everything in football. And if results are not going your way, particularly when it's Celtic or Rangers, if other teams 20-odd points ahead, the manager's going to be serious under pressure. And it's not. But there's a line you can't cross. I think a lot of Celtic supporters are so frustrated that they've crossed that line. They're calling people names that they shouldn't. And putting banners up that are crass. Have an opinion. Listen, the results are not good enough. I want to change a manager. Everybody's entitled to that opinion, but there's a way of going about it. And I think some of the Celtic fans, particularly in social media, have let themselves down badly. But I think that's just the way of the world at the minute.
Celtic against Aberdeen tonight. Celtic have got back to winning ways, and I'm just looking at the stats here, Roughie, on this. Scored 12, conceded only 2, slowly but surely. This is what Neil Lennon was looking for, and I think Aberdeen, a win tonight over the Dons, would continue the resurgence that Neil Lennon was crying out for. If he can get a settled 11 that he's picking regularly, and Edouard keeps scoring goals, they could keep up this winning run. Ruffy's not really bothering now. He's in a huff.
Oh, no, I thought you were going to show me a Neil Lennon clip there. I thought there was a clip coming. No. I think Neil Lennon. I thought Neil Lennon all along has said that he wants to go on an extended run, and lo and behold, this manager who's getting absolutely battered left, right, and centre. If he wins tonight and wins against Ross County the weekend, he'll probably be manager of the month. So that's what he's heading for. He's wanting positive results. He's wanting people to.
Yeah, I lost you there, Roughie, but let's hear from Callum McGregor, who thinks that Neil Lennon deserves the backing, not only of the players, but the fans.
Everyone is fully behind the manager. He's had a great record at this club. He's delivered so much success, firstly as a player, and then obviously as a manager as well. So, his credentials speak for himself. And like I say, we've had very successful times. Obviously we've managed to do 2 trebles under his wing as well, which everybody always remembers that as well. So, like I said, he's had a great time at the club, and like I said, the people up the stairs will make that decision. But from my side and the players' side, then obviously we are all behind them, and we've had some good times together as well.
Yeah, and I think that's the point that you've been emphasising as well, Tam, about coming. I think, over the piece, I've looked at the record. I'm not going to start to shirk out of it. I think this season of all seasons, we said in August that anybody who's behind in December if they're a substantial amount of points behind, they'll be calling for his head. And if Steven Gerrard was not in touch with Celtic in December, in this season of all seasons, there would have been Rangers fans calling for his head.
Yeah, definitely, Peter. I think there would have been. I know everything in the garden's rosy now with Rangers in terms of Steven Gerrard, but even before the lockdown, was it last March when Rangers lost to Hamilton? There must have been a few Rangers supporters when they went with 11 points, 13 points behind Celtic, who were contemplating, getting rid of the manager. So I think it can change very quickly. This season, you've seen Rangers have been very, very consistent. They've been excellent, and Celtic have just not been able to handle the pressure of keeping up with Rangers. So, yeah, I think that Neil Lennon has done a great job. We've said it for the last couple of weeks, months. I think that when you go this amount of points behind at the Old Firm, then you're going to be under pressure, and I think that Neil understands that. And the only surprise for me is Neil's still in the job. I thought he would have lost the job when Rangers lost at Celtic lost at Ibrox just at the new year. But he's still there, so the fans have got to get behind him, I suppose, until the end of the season. But I don't think he'll be there next season, Peter.
Yeah, there's one thing we're not privy to, Charlie, and this is something that goes on behind the scenes at every club, is the discussions, the context of the discussions, the point where the manager turns around and says, well, wait a minute, I came in here in your hour of need when Brendan Rodgers jumped ship. I steadied the ship and won the title for you. I won the cup for you. I then went on in a very difficult COVID year and went on a run from January that was unbelievable to win you the title. I won you the cup, I won you the quadruple treble, and now, I should be given the time. And the board might be thinking to themselves, well, he deserves that despite all the fan anger. He deserves that time. But I think there is a crossroads coming up in April where the board must look and say, okay, maybe he wins games all the way to April, Charlie, but they're still going to try and sell season tickets.
Yeah, listen, they'll always sell season tickets, Celtic Football Club, do you know what I mean? They'll still have the 55,000, 60,000 there every week when fans return. That's not the issue. The issue will be there's a new chief executive coming in, chairman coming in, the chief exec replacing Peter Lawwell, and he'll want to stamp his authority on the football club. He won't just want to come in and be a yes man. He'll want to come and say, right, okay, I made the decision, it's a new manager, let's go in a new direction. That's how I see it. That's how it will happen. And Celtic will have a new manager next season. But like you say, looking at his record and what he's done, he deserved that opportunity to see it out to the end of the season. The results have not been great, and understandably, a lot of pressure coming from supporters, because when you think you're going to win 10 in a row, which they did, they thought it would be easy and they were going to win it with a walk. But I think there was just a different focus in the Rangers camp to what Celtic come back into the start of this season. There was too many players itching for moves in the biggest season in the club's history, and your big players wanted to get out of the football club. That was a worry for me, and it's shown why players have not performed at the level that they're capable of.
And now Celtic face a team tonight in Aberdeen where the fans are also calling for the manager's head. But Neil Lennon reckons that it's time the Aberdeen fans showed a little backing towards Derek McInnes.
I think Derek's an outstanding manager. He's done something, not many modern day managers do. He's had that longevity at one club. I think he's been very loyal to Aberdeen when he could have gone on to maybe bigger and better things at other clubs, but he's remained loyal and stayed, and I think that loyalty should be reciprocated at the minute. We all go through difficult periods. This season is not normal by any stretch of the imagination, as we've seen not just here in Scotland but elsewhere. So I think if anyone deserves a bit of loyalty and patience, it's Derek.
Well, it's a good point that he makes, Tam, but I thought he should have gone a couple of years ago. I thought he'd reached the ceiling with Aberdeen then, but the options, if my memory serves me correct, one of the strong options was Sunderland, and nobody who wants to further their career joins Sunderland. It's the end of the road for many a good manager. Should he have taken that Rangers job when it was there for him?
Yeah, looking at it now, Peter, yes, he should have. But, at that point in time, Rangers were a bit of a mess as well. So I think it was two options for him that he maybe didn't fancy. He had a good thing going at Aberdeen. He's very well paid at Aberdeen. He had a good squad of players. And he had two options, one at Aberdeen, one at Rangers. Now, looking at Rangers now, that yes, obviously he should have, but there's been a lot of hard graft went into that with Steven Gerrard, a lot of money invested in the playing squad. And who knows if he'd have done the same job as Steven Gerrard? You will never know. But I think that the options, available to him weren't great at the time, Peter. So I think he's well within his rights. I don't know about loyalty. I think if a bigger club and a better option came up, he would have left. But I think the two that came up, he maybe thought, I'll maybe wait for another season or two. But now his stocks went down, so he's maybe not going to get the opportunity. It's all about timing. I think for every player and every manager, you're looking for a move. You're looking to alleviate your career. You're looking to go up the way. It's all a matter of timing, and I think the timing now for Derek McInnes to go to a bigger club is maybe gone. So who knows what will happen at Aberdeen?
Well, he's got to try and win the game tonight, and he doesn't care how they do it; just win it.
It's not about clean sheets tomorrow. It's not about points at this stage of the season. It's wins that get the job done, and we just need to try and find ways to get more wins between now and the end of the season for us to achieve what we want to achieve. So that's basically it in a nutshell. We can talk about big performances, but if we get a scrappy victory tomorrow, we'll take that over anything.
Okay, Roughie, I'm going to go 2-1 Celtic. Where's your money on this one?
I'm going to go Celtic 2-0. I don't think Aberdeen have scored in 5. I can't see any way that all of a sudden they're going to turn it around at Parkhead, so I'm going to go Celtic 2-0. Okay,
Charlie?
I want to go for a draw, but I think Celtic are going to... I'll go 3-0 Celtic.
It's a bit of a difference.
I'm just thinking puts Rangers another step closer to the title. We'll take 1-1, but 3-0. I think Celtic will win easy.
Let me just remind you that you're... Well, I was just about to say...
He's a Dundee fan.
Let me just remind you you're a Dundee fan, and stop waving.
I am a Dundee fan.
Just give us an honest opinion.
There's no waving the Union Jacks. I'm a proud Scotsman.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't mean it that way. But anyway, apart from anything else, have you all been hitting the 2020? Have you all been hitting some kind of mad drink? Because that went from a draw to a 3-0 win. Tam, where are you going with this?
I think Celtic will win the game comfortably. I'm going to go for 4-1 to Celtic.
4-1?
4-1? Write that down, Roughie. Write that down.
I've got it written down.
Never mind.
Highlighted as well.
He's on the bad dog. That's outrageous.
Aberdeen have been poor. I think Celtic can get an early goal, can go and win the game very comfortably.
Wow, there you are. Okay. Right. Well, if it's... I'll tell you one thing, Charlie, if it's 4-1... that'll be... I can't wait for the next show when we're all back together again. But anyway, what about St Mirren against Hamilton? Jim Goodwin said
that is what he's going for.
I did say 2-1 at the start, if you were listening.
Oh, you did? So I'm
still
taken aback with his 4-1.
What you've got that drip of Buckfast in your arm, Roughie. You're not even listening now. Anyway, apart from anything else, St Mirren against Hamilton. Brian Rice, I think, is looking forward to this one because if Hamilton can get the win, Brian Rice is keen to see them leapfrog Kilmarnock.
To win tomorrow night would move us above Kilmarnock with a game in hand. So if you look at it in that aspect, it would be massive. But like I say, Andy, you know me, I just take it tomorrow night. Let's try and get the 3 points and see where we go from there.
Yeah, and equally so, the other aspect of this is St Mirren are flying high and they've got aspirations of trying to get into that top 6 as well. But Jim Goodwin, first to admit the confidence in the Accies team will be sky high as well because of that good performance against Rangers and, of course, the Lanarkshire Derby win.
I felt that Hamilton were probably better than us on that particular day in terms of what they done to Rangers. They should have won the game. It's as simple as that. And chances created and opportunities that they had. And, Steven Gerrard was very honest in his post-match interview. He felt the same. And they seem to have taken the confidence they got from that Rangers game into the Motherwell game of the week.
Yeah, a win in this one, Roughie, takes St Mirren into that top 6, which is where Jim Goodwin wants to be.
Yeah. Well, as we heard the other day, Brian Rice has got a list of everybody that said something against Hamilton, and he's going to wait his time until he gets them. So I'm going to go Hamilton 4-0.
Yeah. Anyway,
no, I think Hamilton
write that
have a
down,
lot.
Tom.
I think Hamilton have a
Go and take his
lot
first
of
answer.
confidence for the weekend. I don't think this is a given. I'm going to sit in the fence in this one and go one each.
Oh, one each. I love the way Tam just went straight into who wants to be a millionaire mode there. I have to take your first answer. Anyway, one each from Roughie. Charlie, where are you going with this one?
I'm going to go with 1-1 as well. I think Hamilton are... Everybody writes them off, doesn't they, every year, and they just keep performing. The results in the last two games, I've got to take confidence from that. But St Mirren are going well. I'll go for 1-1 as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go...
That means the two of them won't get any nearer Rangers.
Yeah. Yeah. See, as soon as you stick your head above the parapet with that line, Charlie, you're getting absolutely...
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
I know, absolutely. I'm going to go St Mirren to win 2-1, Tam.
Oh, it's a difficult one to call. As I said, St Mirren have been very impressive this season, and Hamilton are on a great run, so I'm going to sit in the fence as well, but I'm going to go for more goals. I'm going to go for 2 each.
Yeah, 2 each. Okay, I'm sure Brian Rice is just writing down everything right now, making sure he's got it all on record. Listen, I'm just looking here. Stuart Findlay, a number of players, and this is interesting because obviously Roughie and yourself, Tam, have played in America in the MLS, and now Stuart Findlay, who was linked with Hearts, looks as if he's on his way to Philadelphia Union to play in the MLS. More and more players are looking towards going out there to ply their trade, Roughie. I mean, I know you enjoyed it. You were in the early days of the MLS.
Yeah, it's a family life changer. You know, if you've got kids and you're going over there, it's a different way of life. You know, obviously the weather's got a lot to do with it as well, but it's a just different aspect of what you've been plying your trade if he's been plying it for 6 or 7 years, and everybody that goes enjoys it. You know, there's a lot of sort of a relaxation in certain things, pressure maybe not still the same but still there, you know, and it'll be an eye opener, you know, to what they do over there with advertising and everything. Just a new way, you know, and if he's got young kids, it's a new start, and I don't think he won't enjoy it. He'll love every minute of it.
Yeah. Did you like it, Tam? Is it something you wish you'd stayed longer?
I loved it, Peter. I loved it. I've actually played at Philadelphia, Rochester Rhinos in a US Cup game. Brilliant setup, you know, great stadium, great dressing rooms, great training facilities, you know, top notch. Philadelphia is a great city. Wonderful move for Stuart Findlay. And I would recommend to any player playing in Scotland, if the opportunity came to go and play in MLS, to take it. I think it's a really improving league. You look at the clubs going in there. Miami's coming into the league with David Beckham. You know, and there's, you know, Toronto and teams like that. There's some fantastic clubs in MLS and great cities. So I loved it over there, Peter. I wish I was still, you know, over there longer, but maybe go over there and coach one day. You never know. But great place, America. I loved it. I loved the whole place, and the whole league was fantastic.
Yeah. Were you married when you were out there, or were you single?
No, I was married. I was married. I went to Colorado, played for Colorado Rapids, and then came back here and went back over to Rochester Rhinos. But no, it was a terrific place to go and play football.
Yeah. And does it just need to fall into place? Because if you're saying you liked it, I mean, obviously you, your wife, you've got to like the whole surroundings. Did she enjoy it? What was the main reason you came back?
The main reason was that the manager got changed, and over in America it's different. You know, there's a salary cap, so you've all got to fit your whole squad under there. Myself and the guy called Terry Cook, I don't know if you remember him, played for Man City, Man United, winger.
Yep.
He was there, so me and Terry were there, and we were two of the higher paid players, and the manager came in, and as soon as he came in, the English guy shipped the two years out to make more space in the wage cap, so we come back home. But no, we loved it over there. If it was the same manager that signed me, was there for a couple of years, I'd probably still been there. But you know, in football it all changes when the manager goes. But no, I loved it. Great place. Yeah.
Would you go there, Charlie? Was that something that would have appealed to you?
No, it's something. Yeah, it was something I was looking at. If it come along, you know, one or two interests, but nothing concrete. I was talking to Ryan Shawcross the other day, and he's got that dilemma at the moment to go into Miami. So he's sitting
high level,
thinking that he's thinking that over and seeing where he goes.
Yeah. You sure he's thinking over?
To Miami.
I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But Peter, it's just the big thing is, like, Sam said, it's not just the player. Like, we can go and play as long as we're playing. The family's massive in it, especially like if you're Ryan and you're going over there, or Stuart Finlay if he's got wife and kids. It's different. It's a whole. It's not like you're on a plane for an hour and you can straight back to Glasgow or whatever. You know, it's a good flight. It's a big, huge family decision you got to make. But once you make it, you got to commit to it, and that's the thing. Yeah, if you commit to it, you should get the rewards for it as well. So no, it's definitely couldn't turn it down if you got that option.
To be fair, Charlie, I mean, if you went over there and played in maybe your last year in America, I mean, we'd have to probably put subtitles on the show because, you know, a kind of a Dundee accent to a Paisley accent to a Govan accent to a Lytham accent and then over to America. I don't think we'd be able to understand a word that was
like
going
Graham
out of your
McDowell, the
mouth.
golfer.
I don't think. No.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I'm not sure I would fit just this screen I'd get into. I think you'd probably have to widen the screen a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
I think they'd enjoy it too much.
Yeah, too right.
I
You would, and of course.
I think they're more knowledgeable now in America. I mean, when I was there, they were, you know, they weren't up for it. The kids were just all looking at videos of certain people in World Cups and all that, and that's what they built on, with stats and all that, and that was the way. But I think it's all changed now. I think it's getting more and more professional.
Yeah, I thought you were saying
when I was in Florida. My main problem was my wife couldn't come over for 4 months. So I
bet it was.
So.
Facing Minnie.
By the way, Charlie, what you don't know in that story is his wife couldn't come over and he was there with George Best. I give you the worst scenario possible. It doesn't get any better than that, to be honest with you. Although for 1 minute there, Roughie, when you said the Americans are more knowledgeable now, I thought that was you saying there's no way they'd take Charlie over there. I thought, God, he's
quarterback.
Charlie would be a quarterback. Absolutely, he'd be picking passes non-stop. It'd be brilliant.
Yeah,
I
played over there in 2008, and what Ruffy's saying about fans being knowledgeable. My first game for Colorado Rapids was at home to Chicago, and 20 minutes into the game, the boy went down the wing, cut it back, and honestly, I'm 6 yards out. Peter, I go to score sitter, and I blast it over the bar. And I'm waiting for the barrage abuse you would get in Scotland. Hey, that's not good enough, and the usual stuff. Yeah. And all I heard was clapping. Unlucky, McManus, unlucky. I'm thinking I could play you for the next 20 years. The fans don't shame you.
That was the same. Well, I told you that was the same with me. My first game in Florida in the Orange Stadium. It was a Friday night, and there was a lot of tourists and a lot of holiday makers there as well. And my first kick of the ball, I picked it up and kicked it into the other 18-yard line, and all I could hear was, "You're the man! You're the man!" I should have been here 5 years later. Brilliant.
Absolutely. Anyway, and Una Brennan says, George Best and Roughie and no wife, say no more. Una, you've nailed it. Honestly, that's exactly what we were.
Sorry, just quick one on the American thing is that it's obviously I played a few friendlies there pre-season. It's just the whole build up to the games, and it's amazing. The shows and people. They're there 2 hours before the game. The kids and that beers, hot dogs, and all. It's brilliant, huh? So it's
just a quick one, Peter. Just what Charlie says there. My first game was against Tampa Bay Rowdies at home, and they beat us 2-0. And obviously, you're in the dressing room, absolutely gutted. And the owner came in. He went, "Come on, let's get the shower. Let's get tidied up after game party." And I says to him, "We've just been beat 2-0. Where's the party?" "Oh, it's down in the local hotel." And I said, "Who's all there?" He says, "Oh, their supporters and both teams. We're just going to have a night out." And that's where they are. They just don't get it. When you're losing, you just go home. You just hide yourself in a room. Party with them.
Sorry, a quick story just come to me right when I was at Rangers. So we gone there, and then listen. I think it was the end of season trip. We went and we played the Galaxy. And Alan Gow had signed, and he scored. So we're there with Walter, Coisty, Durante, and all that, Kenny McDowell. So we'd been there 3 or 4 days. We'd had a couple of nights out, a few beers and all that. And I was thinking, at the end of this game, we trained, played the game, and I was hopeless, right? Hopeless. And Walter come in after the game, and he hammered me. He went, "And you think you're going to be playing for this football club next season after that performance?" It was absolutely embarrassing. And he went right through me, and I went to, and this was the worst thing I should have said. I could have said to him, I said, listen, Gaffer, it's only a friendly. He went, there's no effing friendlies at this football club. I was like, oh no.
Your bottle and crash.
Boy, do you know that were like laughing their heads off and all that. I mean, it's like, that was the worst thing you could have said.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, as we mentioned there, it's a great country. They've got a different attitude. I can just imagine Neil Lennon walking into the players after the Old Firm defeat and saying, "Yeah, we're all going down to this big party. Their fans are there too, and their manager and their players." Tam, can you imagine that in this country, which is so backward it defies belief?
No, it's
There'd be a
certainly
full
more
scale
relaxed over. It's more relaxed over there. Even when I was in Rochester, which was 2012, 2013, much like Roughie said, we done the same. We used to go and have a drink after the game.
Yeah, incredible. Great attitude. There are some things we should take a leaf out of the Americans' book. Anyway, here's another thing I was just about to say, which probably doesn't happen in America. I watched it this morning. Not quite as bad as it's being billed at the moment, Roughie, but I don't know if you spotted the referee, Darren Drysdale, went head-to-head with the Ipswich player, Alan Judge, and I looked at it and I thought to myself, now, this is your classic amateur or junior game where the player's giving the ref jip and the ref can handle himself. So, he'll maybe square up to him. But I must admit it looked a wee bit dicey, but maybe not as bad as everybody's making out. That player must have said something to him, and the ref's just kind of lost his cool, Roughie.
Yeah, he looked a bit heavy, the ref, did you know? I mean, right. It looked as if he could have handled himself particularly well, but I think he was a couple of inches. He did with that beard, but I think he was a couple of inches away from, disciplinary action, but fortunately it never went that far, and it'd be a shame if he is hammered for that one, because as you're saying, we don't know what the guy said to him, that these things happen in the heat of a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie, it was a strange one to see it. I'd love to have known what they were saying to each other that prompted the referee to get so angry, because he's clearly said something.
The first time I seen it was last night, and I thought he'd head, but I actually thought he went for him. And I was thinking, what's the ref in there? I think it's worse than what we're actually thinking. I think he's gone for him, and then realised, because the players sort of grab the referee and push him away. If you push a referee away nowadays, you're going to get banned. So something's got to come of that. But no, it was brilliant. And after that, you've seen all the players like squirming away, trying to not get involved in it once he'd done his bit, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Did he not send the boy off at the end?
I'm not sure if he did, Roughie. He gave him a yellow card. He may well have.
He sent somebody off.
Nevertheless, it was a good noise up, Tam. Have you ever had a point where you were face to face with the ref? A wee bit of aggro, Tam?
Yeah, I get sent off against Rangers at Easter Road for pushing Mike McCurry. We were getting beat 3-0. We had 2 men sent off. It was Alec McLeish. I don't know if Charlie was there. It was Alec McLeish's first game as Rangers manager back at Easter Road, and we'd Ulrich Larsson. Somebody hit a shot. I think it was, God rest his soul, Fernando Rickson, who hit a shot, and big Ulrich Larsson saved it in a line handball, and we were all complaining to the referee, and he sent me off on Australia after it for pushing Mike McCurry and calling him a name that I shouldn't have called him. So he was quite within his rights to send me off, to be honest.
Okay, well, at least you're honest about it now.
How many games do you get?
I think I get 3 games. I think I get 3 game ban. Frank Sosey was manager at the time for Hibs, and he slaughtered me in French. So it was all right.
Bet you did. Listen, you know that Celtic Aberdeen is a 6 o'clock kickoff. Bain, Taylor, Ayeti, Sorrow, Turnbull, Kenny, Christie, Edouard, Ayer, McGregor, and Welsh are the players starting. So Brown drops to the bench. That's an interesting one, Roughie. Scott Brown's been playing the last few games.
Yeah, but I think we all knew. I think they said they were going to rest him in particular games. We obviously a lot of games coming up, so maybe it's just identified. Maybe he's just feeling a wee bit tired or carrying a wee niggling injury, and they've just said, "Look, we'll leave you out in this one." But I'm sure he'll still have a part to play if he's on the bench and comes on, because we saw in recent games he has been the guy that's been motivating them to drive forward and get these wins.
Yeah, I think Tam Scott himself, having spoken to him, is well aware of the fact that at his age, he's quite happy for the manager to, pick and choose. He's not in the background stamping and stomping about everywhere when he's not picked.
Yeah, I think Scott's a good professional, great professional. I mean, he's in the team or out the team, his demeanour's the same. And I think that's important for any top player. You can't throw the dummy out the pram. You've got to just get on with it. And Scott Brown at his age can't play every game. He's been playing well in the team. Obviously, he's rested him tonight. But I'm sure he'll maybe come on later on in the game and maybe start the next game. But Scott's a great professional. He's not going to... He knows he's his captain, club captain. So whoever plays, he'll get right behind him, I think.
Yeah, Aberdeen, Lewis, Hoban, Considine, Hornby, Taylor, Hayes, Ferguson, Camberry, Campbell, Kennedy and McCrory. So Camberry gets a chance, Charlie, to impress.
Yeah, no, I think he'd done all right when he was at Hibs, and obviously went on loan to Rangers. It was obviously a difficult situation. Rangers never took him, and he went away to Switzerland and then Aberdeen. Struggling for strikers with Wright going away. So, listen, he knows the league, and he'll be a presence up there. He's a big lad and strong enough. So he'll be looking to try and get a few goals in it in season and try and push Aberdeen, back into that third place.
Yeah. Okay, the Champions League. Yeah.
Canberra and Neil Lennon have got a wee bit of history, as we know, from Hibs. So it'd be interesting if Canberra scores a goal. Will they do the old Wayne Rooney celebration? If he scores?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's always a great wee noise. I trust you to remember a wee bit of friction between the two of them. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Tam. Of course. And of course, had there been fans in, Roughie, in the stadium, when you when you actually get to a situation where you declare your love for Celtic or Rangers and then suddenly you're playing for another team, you would have get absolute pelters, but you'll be able to just concentrate on trying to score goals for the Dons.
Yeah, that'll take a bit of the pressure off him, there's no doubt. But no, when he was at Rangers, I saw glimpses, that he could be, if he got an extended run with somebody, he could show something. He's obviously got something, there's no doubt about it. He did it at Hibs on occasion, not consistently, but I think it'll be a dangerous one the night, particularly with sometimes the Celtic defence being a wee bit vulnerable, but I think Celtic have got too much midfield going forward. Again, I think Turnbull's really, really coming onto a game now. Some of the things he does, in a match is something that other people can't see. I don't try. So I think he's a big, big player, and that's why I think Celtic will win.
Yeah. Apologies to people who maybe can't hear Roughie. I know Tam and Charlie are okay with their microphones, but what happens is Roughie puts his microphone quite a distance away at times, and he sounds like the horse whisperer tonight. And now he's going to bring it in the last 10 seconds of the programme, and then boom, everybody, as they're listening to the podcast. Champions League football, of course. Liverpool, just a wee mention of them. Charlie, your old club last night. 2-0 win against Leipzig, and I thought they played really well.
Yeah, for what's going on in the performances and the defeats they've had in the last few weeks, it's just a good way to bounce back and refocus for the Premier League. You'd expect Liverpool to get through into the next round, so it's a great away win in the Champions League. It's always tough, but I thought they played really well and got a good goals.
Yeah, and the manager Jurgen Klopp, not fooled by this. It's not everything's rosy in the garden.
We are not no children anymore. So that we now think, okay, we won that game and now everything is fine again. So for me, it's much more important that we played again good football. Again, not the first time in the last few weeks. I understand that and respect that 100%. That nobody's really happy with the results. That's clear. But the football we played, dominating City in a way that have not often, same against Leicester, have not often, stuff like this. We should not forget that.
Yeah, where's your eyes going to be tonight, Tam? Is it Seville against Dortmund, or is it going to be Porto against Juventus?
Probably be St Mirren against Hamilton, Peter.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll watch that.
You've got a season ticket for St Mirren as well.
I'll try and get that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's magnificent.
I like to support other Scottish clubs by giving them a few quid.
Absolutely. I don't know about you, Roughie, but I'm talking about the same size as Apollo 13. This dish he has that he just keeps.
I'm going to side you reserve league on that box.
Absolutely. Well done, Tom. Okay, I'm going to watch Porto Juventus, Roughie. I like Ronaldo. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I'll probably record that one. I'm hearing Marcelo was absolutely magnificent last night, so I've recorded it. So I might just switch between the two. But
you don't need to record it, Roughie. You can get it on the Warner. You can get them all. It's on catch up.
Have you got two tellies?
Have you got?
Yeah, he's got a Betamax recorder. He's got a Betamax recorder.
For next episode.
He's waiting for a DVD to come out.
No, just like if you don't celebrate your birthday on the same day, it doesn't count. So no, you got to watch it as it happens.
It's amazing how technology moves quickly. Charlie's just saying there he's waiting for the DVD to come out. I mean, honestly, it sounds antiquated now. I mean, you were binging on any kind of mad series. That 000 you're talking about, Tam, I'm watching it non-stop at the moment. It's the only problem. Only problem is there's very few characters left in it. Charlie.
I'm watching the example.
I'm not great.
I watched that a fortnight ago, and these two are just starting to watch it now. See,
I know it's on.
I've already told them the ending.
Yeah, Charlie, don't warm to any of the characters because they don't last long in it. That gives you an indication of how mental it is. Listen, there's a guy called Neil Gray who watches the programme on a regular basis, and he always likes to keep us up to date with wee things that I think, if you're a football fan and you're like all of us guys here, we like to catch up on things that might be on the telly that might be worthwhile watching. And Neil casts his eye over documentaries and things like that are coming up. And he says, 27th of May, there's a documentary coming up on Amazon about Sir Alex Ferguson called Never Give In. I think his son Jason's been involved in putting the whole thing together and how he came back from that brain hemorrhage. And I don't know about you, but Charlie, it's well worth watching these things. I loved the Three Kings with Jock Stein, Bill Shankly and Sir Matt Busby. I thought that was great. So I love these kind of documentaries, especially if it's got somebody Scottish in it.
Yeah, no, I seen it. I think it came out yesterday or this morning or something in one of the newspapers. So I was reading it, and I'm buzzing for it because listen, he's greatest Scottish manager ever, and to be able to hopefully if it goes into his life and how he done it after how he retired, and obviously the brain hemorrhage will be amazing to see. He's still an icon, and he's a top manager, and supposedly maybe a great guy as well. So that'll be great to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, guys, always love talking football with you. Tam won't be with us on Friday, so we are going to bring in an able replacement, Roughie. And of course, as you know, Roughie, Roughie, as you know, if that person comes in and performs really well, the jersey's there for them. Is that fair, Charlie? I mean, if you go in and you perform well, the jersey's there for you, or do you stick by the legend?
Yeah. No. You're always good as your last performance.
Yeah. It's
not good if you're out.
I'll be all right. Charlie, the only thing about it is he's used to being substituted. So no bother.
You've got a point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, still get your fee if you come home for the last 10.
Exactly. Well remembered, Tam. Tam, you're a vital part of the team, and we're delighted. We'll get back to you on Monday, but Charlie will be with us on Friday, and of course Roughie as well. Tomorrow on the programme, it's Thursday, Steven Naismith. Basically what happens is the white van goes to Charlie's house, drops off the £3.4 million for the Dundee games, and then he goes on to Naismith in his house and drops off the £5.8 million for the games he's playing for Hearts. The white van is just driving between the houses.
Money mind been a pound behind you too.
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable. It'd be fantastic. Anyway, apart from anything else, I don't know if you've noticed today, folks, Roughie's in the same position that he is every day with his photographs behind him. But because in the marriage, Charlie's wife is the power behind the button, so he's started to move with some nice, soft furnishings in the background.
No,
and of course,
the reason why is the reason why
he's changed to that radiator. Steady weight.
I don't know. Let me talk, please. I done a show last week, and they said to me, "Listen, that light switch is annoying us." So there we go. Look. So I thought, let's change it back up and make it quite nice. We'll just put that Player of the Month trophy in there and a couple of flowers, and that's what we're all about.
Charlie, that looks fantastic, but it's got nothing on McManus's wife, who's clearly said any chance of showing everybody the new curtains. So as you can see from McManus, flowers are in position. The big sweeties have been taken away, and there's a lovely new net curtain there. It's all, honestly, it's like a furniture show here. It's crazy. I love seeing the backgrounds every now and then. Love talking about football. If you get a chance, please do have a listen to Kevin Twaddle. He's our 1-to-1 this week, and I thoroughly enjoyed chatting with the big man. I don't know, Tam, did you come across Kevin in your playing days? He's a great lad.
Yeah, I did play against him plenty of times when he was at Motherwell and when he was at Hearts. Played against him. Very good player, winger. He's quite big for a winger. Wingers are usually small and pacey, but he was a good wide man, good delivery. And it's good to see he's got his life back in track. Listen, he's a well documented probably gambling, but he sorted it out, and he's got a great young family now. So fair play to him, and I'll give that a wee watch later on. His YouTube interview with you.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, from Charlie, from Tam, from Roughie, and myself, Peter Martin. Enjoy your football, and join us tomorrow at 4 if you can.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.